So the problem for problem number 4, we had to integrate the function of 28 of dx divided by x squared times the square root of x squared plus 16. To make it easier for ourselves, we want to bring the 28 outside. So bring the 28 outside, then make the inside function to the integral. So it's going to be 1 divided by x squared times the square root of x squared plus 16 times dx. So basically you want to replace all these with x, use d of x. So the x will be substituted as 4 tan of u. The u will be the arc of tan of x over 4, and then the dx would be the 4 secant squared du times. Okay, so basically we use the tan, arctan, and the secant squared because for this we're going to be using the trigonometric substitution. So once we replace this, substitute it back into the regular equation, it's going to look like this. The integral of secant squared u, and the bottom is going to be 4 tangent squared of u, square root of 16 tan squared u plus 16, all that times du. Once we do that, we can basically simplify it. From that, we can bring 1 over 16 out of the integral and make it secant of u over tangent squared of u times du. So next we want to solve the secant u over tangent squared u. So we're going to first write that equation first. Du, which would then be equal to the integral of cosine of u over sine squared of u times du. And just like we did for the first part, we're going to do it for the second part. So we're going to make v equal to sine of u, dv over du is going to be equal to cosine of u, and du is going to be equal to 1 over cosine u times dv. So plugging it back to the equation, it's going to be equal to the integral of 1 over v squared times dv. And the derivative of that is going to be equal to negative 1 over v, which in other terms, plug it back here, is going to be equal to negative 1 over sine of u. And then once we do that, we can just plug it back into this equation right here, which is 1 over 16 secant of u over tangent squared of u du. So plugging into this equation right here, it's going to be negative 1 over 16 sine of u. We can basically simplify this equation right here, make it to negative. On top, you're going to have x squared divided by 16 plus 1. On the bottom, you're going to have 4x. We got this by the original equation up top here. So all we're doing now is just plugging it back in here. Is equal to 20 on the outside. The integral 1 divided by x squared times the square root of x squared plus 16 times dx. Simplify that, you will get negative 7 x squared divided by 16 plus 1. On the bottom, you have x. Basically, you're going to replace x with the 4 over here, which will make it negative 7 x squared plus 16 over 4x, and then you add the constant. And here we got the square root of x squared over 16 by just bringing this part up top. So just basically flipping these two. And that's your answer for the 20 dx over x squared times square root of x squared plus 16.